I would like to introduce to you now an extended description of the table, just the column. It is still a very short description, but it might give you a better understanding, so if you read about it, it will be a bit more alive. So I'm starting from the first column. This is where we find the most primitive plants, like the nymphea and the magnolia, and the pulsatilla and the opium, or the papaver, all of them in the first column. The first column shows us a picture of the initial state of awareness of the ego. The ego is unified with the feminine quality element. The feminine quality by nature is directing to giving birth and to initiate processes. So this is why we find the feminine in the beginning of the columns. The first column represents unity with the infinity, which from everything burst out from. So the first column symbolized by water, by our first chakra, and any problems in the first that we can imagine in the first chakra and more. Problem in the first column can be expressed in lack of boundaries and lack of discriminations. No boundaries, no discrimination, everything is one. A weak and dependent and influenced ego, spaced out and inattentive. So a lot of attention deficit disorders will be here. Yet we see an awareness to the oneness, awareness to a very initial states. So we might see awareness, but there is in the end inability to do. Typical remedies here will be opium, Staphysaria, Aristolochia, Lotus, Asarum, Nux Muscata, Econite, and Pulsatilla. In the second column, this is the first separation, so I call it here or there, because you're not sure yet. Do you want to go back to the unity, or do you want to separate yourself and be something different? Because once you are separating yourself, then the first feeling is that you're very small. This is not an easy feeling, because you've been connected to something so big, and now you're on your own, and the first feeling, I'm so small. So this will be seen. Am I very small or am I big? Can I do? No, I cannot do. I'm trying, I'm gathering force, no, I can't do anything. So I'm trying to do things, I'm trying to do too much. And so when you're doing too much, then you're now in a psychotic state. So the second column has a psychotic nature, and it is also connected to the second chakra, the sexual chakra. So there is a question, like we know in cannabis indica. Should I be in this world and should I remain in this world, or should I go back to the previous world? So here and there, lots of indecision, a lot of itch and scratch, a lot of question of boundaries, because now we are on the border, here and there. So lots of skin problem and formication and numbness of the skin, like we see in Amamelis, but actually we'll see it all over the column. And the main question is, am I here or am I there? Have I gathered force, or no, I can't do anything anymore? Am I small or am I big? This is the qualities of the second column. In the third column, it's a very complicated column, because it's a short column. It's the column of the cactuses. It's a column of struggle. So therefore I call it the hero. There is strong and intensive battle to separate from the feminine maternal quality, which before gave life and now struggles and limits. It is expressed as a struggle to separate from anything that is perceived controlling, a fight for one's individuality. I want to do it my way, otherwise I will not do it. So, and characteristic remedies are various cactus as we know them. And the heart, the middle, is actually affected a lot. But this is something to explain in a more extensive way. The fourth column It's the column of nurturing and maturity, because now the feminine element is matured. The feminine element is attaining maturity. The individuation process reaches a stage where it needs to learn equanimity. It needs to learn an ability to nourish or be nourished without being belittled by it. So I can give or accept without being diminished, without being little again. The lesson obtained is maturity of the maternal quality, an ability to give or receive, yet keep your separate identity. So imbalance in the fourth column would be expressed as mother-daughter issues, family issues, complication in motherhood, like we see in Tia, with the remedies that we think of is sakarum, chocolate, any complication of motherhood and feeling of abandonment and dependency. While nearing the end of the column, we see the desire to take responsibility to the family, to nourishment as such. So we see bryonia, and so physically the column issue will be expressed through the digestive system from the mouth to the anus. And typical remedies are bambuk, saccharum, triticum, thea, chocolate, and brassica. In the fifth column, the ego is already solid and constructed. Now it needs to cope with the masculine quality, which by its nature could create boundaries, rules and separations, and it gives purpose and direction, thus enabling the individual to see what is apart from itself, to see the other, to separate from what is not himself, and thus realize, express and fulfill his role in the outside world. Immerse itself in doing and acting. The split of the masculine from the feminine element is the strongest issue here. So we can think of the remedy anacardium, causing rigidity, like in Rushtox, stiffness, dryness, and suppression of the feminine, of the emotional level, like we see in conium. The ideas of work, duty, rule, religion, rigidity, and suppression of the heart and relationship will be emphasized in the case when needing fifth column remedies. Prominent remedies are like rose, cartagus, anacardium, rustock, and conium. The last and sixth column, we meet the world at large. We stand up to it, we fight with it, we conquer our place in it, we define our place in it. The sixth column fit our time. It's the sixth chakra, the age of individuality that verge on egoism. Here the feminine and masculine not only split, but fight amongst themselves, causing imbalance that can result in infertility, and which we'll see a lot in the sixth column. Also, the need to prove oneself and find one's place in society can escalate to a quarrel with the world, as we see in the Solanacea, in the group of the Nux Vomica, or even in the group of the Menta. Physically, this can be expressed as allergies or tendency to get worms, to get parasites, something that penetrates you from the outer world. Any other thing that can violate one's boundaries, or even perceived to do so, is perceived as a threat. So the idea of war, threat, blood, fights, and the idea of don't touch me too much will be an issue in the sixth column. And the ego is strong. It is touched by the world, but it says, if I'm penetrated, I will fight back. This is a very strong issue. The answer in the sixth column is, okay, then I will fight back. There are fighters. The sixth column expresses a battle to function within a group, yet keep one's hard-earned individuality. And prominent remedies are Ratrum, Lilium tigrinum, and the monocots in the monocots and Benadonas, Stramonium, Coffea, China, Nux vomica, Ignatia, Menta, Abortanium, Camomilla, and Arnica in the dicotyledons. So here is when the journey ends, preparing perhaps even maybe for the seventh stage, the seventh column, which is not there, where all will be returned to the unified state, but this time keeping a complete awareness of every uniqueness that has been attained. All will be included in the one that acknowledges its part. This is actually the deep meaning of the table.